A great heist, a big short, is currently taking place in the United States. A reset, a debt jubilee, and an intentional engineered collapse of the US dollar. This has never happened before in our country's history. Rome is falling, failing. Bailout after bailout only proves this point. So what's next? Most of you already understand this is pre-planned, and you get it. It's a giant wealth transfer. That's the goal. A marking to zero of a U.S. financial system so marred in debt and bailouts, hope. It is beyond its former solvent recognition. Our founding fathers, of course, despised a central bank, despised tyranny, and despised a controlled state. But how do these bankers actually pull this global event off? What's their game plan? And what are the action steps? All financial assets will be marked to zero very, very soon. Everything. Anything backed by debt, houses, mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit card debt, all instruments that are securitized, fractionalized, monetized, a multi-trillion-dollar debt time bomb of derivatives, a systemic event and market collapse of the entire system. Isn't COVID convenient? Perfect timing. Perfect scapegoat. Perfect distraction. 6 trillion more debt was just printed, and of course it's not a single banker's fault. Not Wall Street, not central banks, not the Federal Reserve, just a convenient black swan event. Right. Just like myself and others had predicted for over a decade, this is the ushering in of a new global government. A world order. This is what we've become, and this is where we're going. With perfect timing and with extreme precision. Never let a crisis go to waste. So what do they do with the crisis itself? Let's talk specifics. China is the new dog on the block and immensely powerful. So much so that they are calling Trump's bluff. Sanctions? Will he dare? Intervention in Hong Kong? How about their trusted ally Kim Jong-un? Confrontation in the South China Sea? Only time will tell. But the first war, before physical conflict, will be an economic one. So how do they accomplish this? All financial assets in the United States will be marked to zero. A financial reset and purchase, of course, by the central bank to market any assets not under their complete sovereign control. As we saw with the gold standard in 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, through his Federal Reserve mandate, an executive act, made it illegal and confiscatable to own any U.S. gold, coins, bullion, or banknotes, penalty of a fine or years in prison. Of course, your government is there to help. So what assets will they want under their new control in this new standard? Gold should be obvious. Silver should be obvious. Bitcoin may be less so, but that's actually not the plan. Here's the problem that they have. The United States will keep monetizing, bailing out and printing to infinity. That's the game of a fractionalized reserve system. It works well, you see, in isolation when other currencies, fiat or any other for that matter, aren't competing with it directly. But what happens when China makes it more and more obvious and declares an official economic war against the United States? Just like Pearl Harbor, things can escalate quickly. Embargoes, trade wars, sanctions can quickly boil and turn into real wars. So what's China's move? Well, COVID for one. Who really knows where this thing really even came from? Trump blames China, conveniently. The Chinese blame the USA. Weaponized or not, it's been a game changer for the whole world economy. Never again will the United States be the same. First move from the Chinese, I expect likely, is an announcement of a new digital dollar to compete with the US reserve. Of course, this has already been announced with the Chinese yuan for years publicly, but the next step will be a global consortium and approval of that new currency on the world stage. The US will be shut out of this discussion, snubbed by the new financial engineers, and its dominance, long held, will be threatened. So what's the counter move? It's anyone's guess. Could it have something to do with the consolidation of power? Concentration of wealth? Societal replanning into a new normal as a result of COVID? What does COVID really accomplish at face value? Global governance, for one, since we're all in this together, hashtag, an excuse to collapse the current financial system without blame. And then the introduction and rollout of a global solution, and eventually a world war. You see, this is why Donald Trump called it a war. Your war. Our war. Pearl Harbor. That's what they said. Who really runs the United States anymore anyway? Is it possible China and the US are both in on it together? Maybe Trump doesn't even know? After all, if you're just listening to your advisors, all information is being compartmentalized. What's the solution? The hard truth is that it's the global population that is the virus. You tuning in. You're the infection. You must be re-engineered, programmed, and controlled for the new system that they are building. This process is difficult to accomplish overnight. It must be systematically rolled out and carefully engineered biologically over a period of years. Over time, a death by 1,000 cuts to the proposed final solution that they always intended. So what is it? What does biological re-engineering and modification accomplish anyway? Trump calls it, quote, a transition to greatness. A transition to non-human. Re-engineering of human biology is an alien event, a great deception, perpetrated and penetrated by the puppet masters themselves. This eugenics operation performs two key functions. It sterilizes the general population, and it imprints a docility and trackability of the target population. A mark, a chip, a tracking and tracing system of which you cannot buy or sell without it. Where have I heard that before? Where can we look to see the next steps, the future of this dystopia that they're building for us in movies like The Hunger Games or The Matrix, and in the super states of Southeast Asia? Sterilized, controlled, subjugated, and merged with machines and technology to a new order, a new system, and a transhuman epic.